You did one.
Our PT gear was ridiculous.
We are.
Oh my God.
We missed everything that we just did. We just went live.
Oh,
So
you know what?
Everybody.
Zippy was saying she couldn't get on. Is that actually true?
We're on. I just realized that we didn't. Nothing we said was live. So we have to start over
for the entire beginning of the show.
So the entire beginning. So 7 minutes.
Okay.
We lost 7 minutes of our lives.
Okay. First off, Ken, you're fired.
Wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on just a second. Hang on, everybody. Wait just a minute.
Now what? Are we back on? Are we off?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Part 2, take 2.
Here we are.
We are officially live.
All right.
We were talking to ourselves for 7 minutes, you guys. 7 minutes. And
oh my goodness.
I thought we did well talking to ourselves. Then Zippy came in and said, "You guys aren't on." So I'm like, "What the heck?" And so there's this little button that I have to press to go live. Now we're officially
Keep
live.
going out on me, Ken. I hope.
Oh, that's okay. Am I back yet?
Well, I can see you, but Mike froze.
Mike,
froze there for a minute.
You're freezing, Mike. So no one could hear us for 7 minutes. But it's okay.
So are you, Ken?
We're practicing our shtick, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, how freaking embarrassing. Okay, look, hey, everybody, welcome. I'm keeping track of the Dodger game. It's 5-4 Yankees in the middle of the 6th right now. Let's throw those pictures up of Axel Anderson and pretend like none of this happened.
Like none of this
got
happened.
those?
Let's go first here.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hey, I got to ask.
Yes.
Yeah, Axel, I got to ask a question first. Is it true that you're nude from the waist down right now?
It is true. It is true.
Okay,
I pooped my pants before this whole thing went down, so I'm sorry.
All right.
It's okay.
That was uncalled for.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us who's that Swedish stud on the left there and what's going on?
That is a has-been Swedish stud from many, many years ago. And that's a class, I don't know which one, and it's probably graduation day. So we're all strutting our stuff.
Hey, who's being arrested there?
Who's that guy you got on the ground? Tell us more.
I wonder.
Okay, that's one of my favorite stories of being on the academy staff, because my specialty, of course, was defensive tactics and PT, and so we gave a demonstration of some searching and handcuffing types of things, and Tommy sidled up to me kind of quietly when the demonstration was over with, and he says, I'm not so sure those things work very well. He says, I can't see somebody who's mad at you allowing you to just grab their arm and throw them down on the ground. I don't think you can do that to me. Now, Tommy Hawkins is a former LA Laker. He's a professional athlete, and he's a strong man. He was a commentator on a news show at the time. And I took him up on the challenge, and we went outside the gym onto the grass, and he stuck his arm out for me like somebody reaching for my badge or trying to hit me or something. And I grabbed him by his arm and threw him down on the ground and wrapped him up in the handcuffing position. And then the other guy came over. He was on the other. There were 2 academy staffs at the time. The other guy came running over and helped me get him hooked up. But when the whole thing was over with, you know what the most impressive thing was? I just threw this guy down. He's got his white shirt and tie on. He's famous in the Los Angeles area. He's a former Laker. He's a newsman. He's well known. And he got up and kind of dusted the graph off himself and was the nicest guy in the world about the whole thing. But I felt like I had to throw him down. He put me on Front Street. So that's the story.
Cool.
That's a good story.
And yeah, it is a good story. But I think at this time I have to back up because I don't think we were live when I was talking about Bob Rifkin.
No.
Were we? Okay. Our buddy Bob Rifkin is in the hospital this evening, and he's been there for a couple of days fighting off some kind of crazy shit. And I just wanted to give him a shout out, tell him that we're here for him. Don't despair. Don't leave before the doctor says you can. And yeah, you know, Bob, get better soon, dude. And we'll have you back. Hey, you know what? We'll have you back on the show. How's that for incentive?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. But hang in there, dude. And that was that. Now I think it was. This is at the point where I was going to ask Axel about what led him to the sheriff's department. Why? Why, man? Why?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing because I grew up in Northern California. Never heard of the LA County Sheriff's Department. Knew nothing about it. Went to high school in Northern California, and I decided to go up to Idaho to go to college. And I actually during my 4 years of college, I went to two different colleges, College of Idaho in Caldwell and the University of Idaho up in Moscow, which is pretty close to where I am right now. But while I was at the College of Idaho, my first 2 years, a couple of my buddies that I played football with had parents who were involved with LASD. One guy, his dad was an LASD sergeant. The other guy, I think, was like a chief, but he was with the reserve program. And they said, hey, man, if you want to be a cop, I had told him that, law enforcement was kind of sneaking into my mind at that time, about a sophomore in college. And they said, man, if you're going into police work, man, you got to go down and go to work for LASD. That is a top-notch department. Sheriff Peter Pitchess, and they sung the praises of it. And, the thought of going to work either in Idaho or Northern California in a smaller sort of a country type department really didn't appeal to me at that time. I wanted to go down and arrest bad guys, get into it, work with that, big city department. And so I came down and took a look at it. And, I talked to some other folks down there once I got to know a few people, and asked about LAPD too. And, even a couple LAPD officers in the gym where I was working out at that time said, no, don't go LAPD, go sheriff. Sheriff's department is taking care of business still. LAPD is on the downhill slide. So I took their word for it, applied, and promptly went in and flunked my first oral. Why? I don't know. I did. I flunked my first oral. So I went back to work for a few months, came back, took the oral again, but this time I had talked to a few people about that oral and how I was supposed to respond to questions. Scored real high, and the next thing I know, I'm standing tall south of the white line facing north.
Hey, well, but you're a biology major, right?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so what were you going to do with a biology major? I'm sure you weren't thinking about law enforcement when you went there.
No, in fact, law enforcement wasn't even a consideration when I was a freshman in college. I was kind of a dumb shit, to tell you the truth, but that's a story for another time. No, I think what happened to me was I went for a ride along with the guy, with, what was it? Canyon County Sheriff. And it had something to do with a paper I was going to write for a class. This was a liberal arts college, so it wasn't all just biology courses. I had to take a whole broad range of courses. And I think I was writing some paper for some sociology class or something. I went for a ride along, and you know what? I said right there, oh shit, this might be something that I have to do. But I was so deep into biology major already, I didn't want to have to turn around and start all over again and do another major. So I just went on ahead and got my bachelor's in biology, and and came down and was a cop and never did another thing with it.
Hey, Axel, in about 1978, I too failed my sheriff's oral.
Oh, that makes me feel much better. I don't hear many guys who go in there and flunk their oral the first time around. I must have been a real bofo. In fact, I probably was.
I'm sitting here with a couple of dumb shits. Is that what's going on?
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Can I tell you?
Man. Hey, Axel,
here's how dumb I am. Check out my T-shirt. I wanted to show this off.
When it's backwards, when I can't read it.
When I die, don't tell me. Vote Democrat.
Yeah. It says, when I die, don't let me
don't
vote.
let me vote Democrat.
You're talking our language, man.
Yeah. Did I tell you, Axel, about when I was out of Firestone on training, there was a call went out. Jake Gray and his partner were chasing Victor Frank David out of the somewhere the Crips had stolen a car. And as they put it out, we were 1 block away talking to a couple of LAPD guys. And we were all casual. Hey, what's going on? How are you? Blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden we hear the broadcast. We see Jake go by and he's chasing this real pretty. It's like a Cutlass, old Cutlass. It was dark blue with a black vinyl top. Beautiful car. So they zip by. Another unit zips by. We jump in with a third car. And as we turn to go down into the projects down there, that Jordan Downs, I hear a shot. I see a muzzle blast come out of the passenger side of the crook's car, right? So we're like, it's on. So these guys, they try to make a turn into the projects, and the guy's going so fast. 101st Street, if you go there, there's a slime puddle that runs along in the water there, and it's always wet. So this guy spins around 180 degrees and comes right up face to face with Corbin and Goldfarb. And the front seat passenger, the driver, they jump out, and make a long story short, there's a bunch of rounds getting capped, and I see Scott Edson take a shotgun and fire a round. And this guy, man, if you had never seen something like that in real life, the guy went like that. I mean, he was running, and next thing you know, his face is in the asphalt. It was incredible. Scary too. Anyways, they're shooting and blasting and screaming and yelling, and the LAPD guys that we were talking to, they come running up. They're like, "What the fuck? You know, we'd have been here quicker, but we had to go change our skivvies." And I'm like, yeah, typical LAPD guys. But I handcuffed the guy that had been shotgunned. I didn't realize he was dead at the time, but he was. The other guy got shot in the ass, and they got paramedics rolling for him. I go back over to our radio car, and Corbin says, "Hey, can you let that guy out of the back seat? He's a ride along. He's going to be Hermosa Beach PD." I go, "Oh, okay." So I go up to him and I open the door, and as I open it, he grabs it and he yanks it shut. And I'm like, that's counterintuitive. So I open it again, and he's fighting me with the door. I look into the passenger side front window, and I go, "What the fuck are you doing? You want to come out?" And he goes, "You get me the fuck out of here. I am not going to be a cop. I am going to be a fucking fireman."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and that's how you do it.
And I'm like, you know what? For us, it's just another Thursday night, man. You know, this is what we do. And not me. You know, ride-alongs can be a real eye-opener, positive and negative. But it was actually classic. You know, I still laugh about that to this day. What I saw, not the guy getting killed, you know, but that poor guy, Hermosa Beach, man. I don't know where he is now, but I'm guarantee you he was not a police for any period of time.
Yeah. No, Hermosa Beach probably doesn't have much of that type of stuff going on. So
no, there's probably a bunch of drunks on the beach. You know, maybe somebody gets run over by a lifeguard truck when they're sleeping in the dunes or something, but nothing like that. Okay,
you know who the other shooter was in that? The other shooter, you said Edson, was my training officer who was Goldfarb. I was on an RDO that night, and Edson was with him.
Oh, so, you know, what's funny is my TO was Steve Wire Reader, and he was working the desk because he got a sunburn during the day. So I was with Bob Olmsted.
Wow.
Great guy. I mean, a lot of great guys out there. I have dreams about those guys even today, not in a gay way, but in a law
And
enforcement way.
now they talk
Not
about
that
you
there's
the same way
not that
today.
there's anything wrong about that, but
And today, Mike, when they say Mike Borman, they all go, who?
yeah, oh, exactly. Well, some of them say who, and some of them go that motherfucker. But you know, Axel, I remember. I think I met you at CJ in '81, and you had just come back from Montana, or where were you?
Montana.
I was at Bend, Oregon.
Oh, Bend over again.
That's
all right.
Bend over Oregon.
All right.
Montana.
And you didn't like that you didn't like that logging job, so you came back, right?
It was a disaster. I knew 3 days after I got there, it was a disaster. It was a beautiful area to live. I love Bend to this day. Well, it's growing a little too much, but it was a beautiful area. I was so bored, I thought I was going to die. You know, yeah. I was working 12-hour shifts, 4 days in a row, and then 4 days off. Now, I thought I was on welfare. My wife wanted to kick me out of the house. I mean, I didn't know what to do with myself. You know, I'd do my workouts and go out for a run and everything. But when you're working for Bend PD and you're lucky to even find some poor idiot to write a traffic ticket to in a 12-hour shift, and then you go home for 4 days, you may as well be a welfare racer. I couldn't stand it. When I left, the chief said, "Hey, look, I'll give you a pay raise and put 2 stripes on your arm if you'll stay." He liked LASD, and I was doing real well in the program, but I just told him, "Chief, you know, I'm out of here. I am so out of here. I'm just bored out of my gourd, and I can't do this for 30 years." So back to LASD I went, and rest is history.
Well, I can imagine Sid kicking your ass out of the house after 4 days straight. So
seriously.
But I met you at CJ. I remember we'd worked together for a few months, then we all end up on the same list going to Firestone. You, me, Michael Operuk, and Jim Harrell. You know what? RIP to both those guys. They're both gone. But here we are. Why'd you put in for Firestone?
Oh, you know what? And again, that's another word that I knew nothing about until I got into the academy and got partway through the academy. And then they talked about the Waters and Arthur shooting over there at the Interstate Bank off of Florence, and the way those two guys went at it. And, you know, that was one of those survival things where everything was working against those two deputies. They were as good as dead. And somehow they just said, "I ain't dying today." And they fought their way through a horrendous situation. And that was Firestone, man. And then I heard the guys in jail going, "Firestone, I don't know where you want to go out there, man. When that training program is tough." And, you know, so you had guys that wanted to go to Lakewood and wanted to go to Lomita, and, you know, not me, man. I said, that's going to be my station, man.
Some of the guys wanted to be career bus drivers with guns.
Yeah.
Amen. You know, the first I saw of Firestone was there was FPK Diamond up in a classroom at BC. And I asked the DI stupidly, I go, "What's FPK?" And he goes, "That's Firestone." And Firestone I hear about is just Firestone. It's Firestone Park. And everybody that came in, you know, from was it Mike McAndrews and a bunch of those other old heads came in, and they would tell these stories about Firestone, and I was like, sign me the fuck up, man. Those guys that wanted to go to Santa Clarita and Lomita and Pico and drive the buses or work in the courts, you know, thank you. That means I don't have to. It was funny. I got out earlier than I should have, and I'm going to wrap myself off now. I ended up on a bilingual list, and I was anything but bilingual. I mean, I could say quesadilla, burrito, chimichanga with the best of them, but I got out there, and one day my training officer, Steve, he pulls over the side of the road and he goes, "You don't speak that Mo, do you?" And I go, "What?" They called it Mo. And I go, oh no, sir, I don't. And he goes, oh, thank God. He goes, otherwise we'd get every stupid morning Mo call. All the drunks and and all the bilingual is a big necessity down there because of all the Hispanics. But he that was the one day I ever saw him happy when he was working with me. Was when he found out that I wasn't bilingual and I didn't know that Mo. But
you may be bilingual because Kamala Harris has 10 accents. She's fluent in 10 accents.
Oh, absolutely. Man, I heard her doing a preacher man the other day, and I was almost convinced. I was convinced.
Because the morning cometh, and I'm like, nobody says cometh anymore. Where did you get that from? Somebody fed her a line. But anyways, I just want to say
that. Man, we don't do a lot of politics here, I don't think. But thank God all this crap's over in a week. And, I pray things work out for the best for the United States of America. And, you know what? I'll just leave it at that at this point. But my God, she's stupid. Hold on.
Hey, I got a special photo showing folks what if you have not retired.
Let's see what you got going on there.
I'm gonna say this: if you haven't retired, you're not living the life, because this is living the life. Right there. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Oh, Meister.
One time he wanted to accentuate a point to me, and he sent me that photo. And I dropped to my knees and cowered under the bed for 3 days when I saw that. I thought, man, there's some Anderson eyeballs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, join the club there, Dale. I didn't. Here I go again. Blah, 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 blah.
Squirrel. This happens Axel, this happens because when Mike sees a squirrel, he's mid-sentence. What?
Well, you got to read it, because look, here's the thing. If Ken puts it up, it's got to be some serious shit, right? So
absolutely.
I got to read it. We're actually better than we used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We used to, squirrel. Because they all used to come up, we'd stare at all of them, and we'd be right in the middle of a sentence and go, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And read it. And Ken does a much better job at keeping my eyes off of that crap.
The old studio, whoever was in the studio, there's the comments were always on, and now in this new studio, you can't see the comments unless I put them up. But I'll tell you, if the comments were scrolling, Mike, we'd lose them completely.
Well, wait a minute. There's a couple other people that used to do the same damn thing.
But they're not here. You are.
They're not here. I know. And you know what? I try to do it real cool. I just kind of glance down and, oh, yeah, I got it. But, well, let's see. After you were at FP&K, where did you go after that?
Mike McAndrews came down and said, you're not going 10-8 for a few minutes. I've already cleared it with your watch commander. You're going out for a run with me. Mike McAndrews was one of my heroes. So
yeah, he's good man.
When he said, you're going for a run with me, I said, great. So I took my uniform off, got into my running stuff, and we went out for a little 5 or 6 mile run and had a long talk. And when we got to the end of that run, we were back at the station, walking the station. He grabs me by my arm and turns me around and says, you just took your oral. I said, my oral for what? He says, for the academy staff. I want you I want you. And I said, great. So he says, you're going to come down. You're going to do an arranged and completely false oral interview with a few guys on the academy staff. And believe me, you're hired. And I said, academy staff, man, oh man. It took me completely by surprise because I'd only been at Firestone for about 3.5 years, something like that. And I was kind of like just getting to be, and one of the old guard out there knows what the hell's going on. And then this thing comes up, but that's where I went next. And that was a ball too. I was there for about 5 years.
Hey, Ken, I'll just point out that Passe is Bob Rifkin. So he's writing us from his sick bed in the hospital.
What?
What do you think about that? Hey, passe.
Passe.
Or is wait a minute, he's calling Axel a pussycat.
What does that mean? What
Well,
does that mean?
it means he's a lot nicer than he looks.
Well, I'll tell you what I am right now at 72 years old, I'm an old dog, then it got no more bite. Now, I did, as a young man, I had a bite. But
oh yeah, you did. I was very happy several times when I pissed somebody off and I looked over my shoulder and Axel was there. And they're coming at me and I'm like, look over your shoulder, punk. Oh man,
hey Mike, I'm keeping the score up for you here.
Well, working Firestone, you're going to be involved in using a little force now and again. Of course, it's all reasonable and done properly. So
yeah,
but you're going to be doing it.
What do you think about the new rule that if you clear leather on your gun and it happens to point in the direction of somebody, it's a reportable use of force?
That is the most insane thing. I don't know who this guy Luna is, but I'm going to tell you something right now. That's if he had his fingerprints on this thing, he ought to be. Well, I'm not going to say that. I better be careful here.
You're in a different state, dude.
Dead CHP officers because of a rule like that.
You know what? We talked about that because if just a real quick lesson for people, the four chippies, Pence, Allen, Frago, and Gore, up in Newhall Pass, got murdered by these two pieces of shit because they were afraid the way they were trained. They took their guns out and they fired some rounds, but they had to police their brass, and they were found with expended rounds in their pockets. And the one chippy pulled a shotgun out, but didn't jack around into it because it had a little paper strap on it that if you cracked the round in there and you broke that strap, you had hell to pay, and you're going to explain what the fuck you were doing. Well, they're all laying dead in the morgue, lined up side by side because of that. But I bring that up because, when we worked the stone together, I probably pulled my gun out 20 times a night. I didn't care if it was a van. I don't care if it was a van full of nuns. One of them probably had a gun. Two of them are probably wanted, right? And it's not like you're out there being a cowboy. I would hide mine, but if I was the passenger and you're the driver and you go up to the car, I've got my gun out and I'm resting it in the direction of the knuckleheads in the car. That's considered a reportable use of force. And and they're saying, oh, go ahead and report that because that's not going to be held against you. You're telling me that some guy that works one of the tougher stations who pulls his gun out 300 times a year isn't going to be scrutinized when he tries to go to another assignment, right? Oh, and the guy that's sitting on his butt somewhere with his thumb in his ass doesn't have any gun pullouts, and guess who's going to get the frickin' job? Yeah, I just go. Mike, you got something to say there, Ken?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Go ahead.
Axel,
go ahead, Ken.
I don't know if you heard about this earlier in the year. There was a report, I think it was LA Times or something, that the LAPD was hiring a company to AI to go through all the body worn camera audio and pick out officers' tone of voice in the body worn camera, so they could analyze it to see if they had a bad tone of voice towards the traffic stop.
Yeah.
Same type of thing. This stuff is getting so ridiculous. No one's going to want the job.
Yeah, I know a kid who's a really good deputy, good kid, knows how to do proactive police work, and he's in trouble because a tattoo on his arm showed, or his hand, and his hair was longer than what they wanted. And here he is, looking at days off for shit like that. I'm going to go to Luna for a second here if we can digress.
Yes.
So a lot of what's going on with Luna is, personally, I think he's out of his depth. But there's, he's butt buddies with Gascon, and he kowtows to the board of supervisors. And the DOJ came down with, what was it, like 100 pages of recommendations on how to fuck with the sheriff's department. And he's letting them do it. They're slowly feeding this shit out, so the people don't all just fucking get up and leave at once in mass. But these bullshit little things that are going on are a direct result of Luna not being able to pack his fucking mud. That's the bottom line. I think he's liberal. I think he's a lefty. If his drinking buddy is George Gascon, that tells me everything I need to know about him. He just came out on KFI the other day, and he's against Prop 36. And you're not in California, Axel, but Prop 36 is trying to fix the damage that was created by Prop 47, where everything became a fucking misdemeanor, and they were trying to clear the state prisons. So they're clearing the prisons out, sticking them in county jail. And it's that one, it's like, well, if you steal a gun and it's only worth $900, that's a misdemeanor, and I give him a ticket and he's out that same day.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of burglaries were turned into misdemeanors or not filed at all. And, it's going to pass in spite of what Gascon and who's a dickhead governor we have here, Newsom. And
yep.
and Luna, it's going to pass. I think almost 80% of the public wants it because they're sick and tired of these takeovers of the stores. The streets looking like a scene from The Walking Dead. All these zombified pieces of crap walking around with needles hanging out of their eyes, and it's people have people have had it. And I'm one of them. I've had it with this bullshit. And Luna's excuse was, well, I'm not for it because the board's not for it, right? The five queens of LA County, they're not for it. And besides, we don't have the money or the jail space. There's a famous quote saying, if you fail at something, please don't let it have been for lack of money or lack of funding. And that's what he's blaming it on, is a lack of funding. I guarantee you, if he had a set of huevos rancheros that he could flop up on that desk at the board, money would come. But he doesn't have it. I mean, he got that vaginal insert sometime when he was over in Long Beach, and he will not enforce the law. He will not support his people. He will not say or do anything that is contrary to what the board or George Gascon wants to have done. Yeah. Now, I tell you what, I have zero respect for the guy. I have heard that he's considering stepping down. I think he's got some issues going on that transcend law enforcement, but I don't want him to. Kind of counterintuitive, but if he steps down before the election, guess who gets to pick the next sheriff? The Board of Supervisors.
Me?
Oh,
yeah.
No.
Well, you're in the wrong state, Ken. But
all right.
Could you imagine? I can guarantee you they're going to pick a bilingual, female, lesbian, transvestite, transsexual, dwarf, female man, or what is it? They refuse to state what they are. They're gender number 137 out of the 150, and it's going to be a shit show. It'll be worse than what it is now. So Luna, if you're out there, or if one of your neophytes is your neocons, or one of your butt boys is watching, stick it out. Stay there. Stay the course. Finish your job, say. We'll back you right up to that. But I'll tell you what, when the election comes, he needs to go down. He needs to either fold up his tent and leave, or get voted the hell out of office. And, it's always be careful what you wish for. But in this case, man, I'll tell you, I think one of those dead Democrat voters could probably do a better job than he's doing right now. He makes me want to throw up my guts. Yeah, and
all your guts.
Every single one of them, more than once. I feel like I'm in a vomitorium every time I look at the guy's face. But
hey, let me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me highlight. What I'm talking. I want to highlight this thing. This last week or this week, I can't remember. Or last week, I did a video with Alex Villanueva about Deputy Trevor Kirk, and how Luna threw him under the bus.
Is that the Winco case?
Yes.
Lancaster? Yeah.
Yes. And if you guys could go watch that video, it's about 15 minutes long, and there's a link in the show notes to go and donate to Trevor and his family. He's not getting paid. And this is a classic, from what I'm correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows this, but this happened at the Winco, and then Luna decided to come out and be all appalled, his pearl clutching, and then he throws Trevor under the bus, and then somehow George Gascon decides not to do anything. I don't know how he knew not to do anything, but the feds filed civil rights charges on Trevor, and thanks Luna for that. So if you can go to that video, give it a watch, and then if you could click on it, $5-10 or whatever you can do.
Hey, you know what? If you don't think that was a coordinated effort between the Fed and Luna and Gascon, you are smoking crack, because that's exactly what's going on. I mean, I know people in and around that incident. I've seen the videotapes, and it's a nothing burger, absolute nothing burger. And that's another thing I wanted to say is that when the deputies do a good job, nobody says shit, nothing. That their brass just sits there with their thumbs in their ass and looking at porn on their computers. But a guy or a gal does something about, they are on top of them. They are screwing them in the press. They're screwing them in public. They're jacking them around. I know a couple of guys right now that are being jacked around by absolute total horseshit bullshit, and it's all behind weak or non-existent leadership. And you know what? That all goes to the top of the mountain to Mr. Luna, because he, I guess he's the fool on the hill, right? It's just I cannot wait for the next year or so to go by so you can get an election going and you can get this knucklehead out of office. I usually hold back. I usually, don't talk crap about the sheriff. I love the sheriff's department. I'm like, Axel, if you cut me open, I'm going to bleed tan and green, just like Ken would bleed blue and urine. But you pig. Why did I say that? Yeah. But you know what? How
dare you?
I just, it's sickening what has happened here in LA County. And, anyways, I was going to back up to, I keep backing up to gas.
But wait, I gotta tell Ken something. Ken?
Yes, sir.
Do you see now why I loved working a radio car with Mike Bornman? We had some fun out there. We were right in sync with our attitudes about the whole damn thing, and we had a good time. I'm telling you, we had a good time.
Oh,
we got dragged apart. We got dragged apart because they wanted to make us both FTOs. And how long had we been there? Maybe a year or so.
Yeah, if we were lucky, a year. Yeah.
If we were lucky, a year. And I would literally went into training sergeant, said, no, don't do that to me. I got a great partner right now. We're having fun. We're out there hooking and booking and just raising hell. And he said, well, that's why we're breaking you up, because we got to spread that around a little bit.
Yeah, I remember that. So, yeah, it was. Yeah.
A couple things. Go ahead.
I would go do it again right now. Me and Axel, two old geezer dinosaurs in a radio car. I'd go out there right now. I'd go to Bill's Burgers and I'd pick up some tacos first. But after that, man, look out. I mean, you know what? Either the streets will get cleaned up or we're going to be in federal prison.
That's right. That's right.
Well, we probably would be in this day and age. I don't know how our deputies can go out there and take the kind of crap they take.
Yeah, Anderson, you pulled your gun out 15 times his shift, and all of it was before you left the station. Quit drawing down on the trustees.
You watch. Okay. They're gonna have holsters with little sensors that are attached to the gun in the holster, and every time you pull it out, they're gonna.
Oh my God! You're shitting me. No, you got to be shitting. Are you shitting me?
I don't know that.
No.
Oh God, Ken, I almost keeled over. I was going to jump on an airplane, fly down there, and go postal or something.
No, they're going to have locks on them that only the watch sergeant has.
So we have a question for Axel. Question for Axel: how did you get to East LA?
How did I get there? I remember there was the ops lieutenant over there asked for me. I didn't really have a whole lot to say about it because I'd been promoted to sergeant from the academy staff, and this guy like put dibs on me or something, and it was kind of neat. I loved patrol at East LA. That is a crime-ridden, just shithole is the best. I don't know what it is now, but then it was lots and lots of gangs, and it was fun. But East LA was different from Firestone, and these guys are probably going to hunt me down and beat my ass for saying this, but Firestone was the place for me. I loved East LA, had a lot of fun there, but it just, there was something really special about that Firestone station that I'll never forget.
Yeah, I did 7 years there, and they were the best 7 years of my life.
Yeah.
Well, except meeting my wife. Hello, beloved. But there's no beating it, and I actually cringe every time some of the kids I know go to work, because they're going to get jacked with behind the same stuff that we did, and all we did was follow the law, right, and make sure that everything was done according to the way it's supposed to be done. But they keep adding all these little BS, let's try to screw them over and keep them from doing their job stuff.
Yeah.
And I was going to mention Gascon coming out. Did you see his decision on the Menendez brothers recently?
I didn't see it.
Well, he did this review, and look at that, Ken's on the ball. He has decided that life without the possibility of parole is just too harsh for these fine young college boys who shotgunned their mother in the face and blew their dad's head off. And remember that? They went out partying, buying Rolexes and getting sports cars and fine clothes and, all this stuff. And then when they get caught, it was like, well, wait a minute. Dad molested me. Okay, all right, let's say that happened. So you blow your mom's face off? These are a couple of murderous little rat bastard punk motherfuckers. And Gascon believes that it's just too harsh leaving them in jail, and they need to get out, start a new life, give them the fucking shotgun back, give them some money, set them up in a mansion, and things will turn out fine. I don't know why he would do that at this point in time, so near the election, unless he thinks that's going to garner him votes from a crazy lefty pinko kind of viewpoint. I don't know. But, you've got the general populace pretty pissed off at him. And I'm relatively confident he's going down in flames. And, it's only going to be another week and we'll find out. I cross my fingers every day. Please, Lord, let him go down. And that'll also be one less butt boy buddy for the Luna to hang on to make it just a little hotter for him. We talked about Jim McDonald getting LAPD's job 2 weeks ago. And I've got no problem with that. I think he's a total LAPD guy. I think he's just going to be wonderful for them. But he was a shit sheriff. And another problem is that I think he's propping up Luna. So I know that he's been sticking his nose in the sheriff's department, giving him advice.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll get busy and go to LAPD and let Luna sink or swim on his own at this point. But, this gaggle of losers that we have in LA County law enforcement right now is just, it's a joke, and it's pissing me off. So Axel, you know what? I'm keeping it cool because I am at a bar. I don't want to get thrown out, but, Axel, let me ask you, you're a little out of the game now being up there in Idaho, but what's your impression about what's going on in Southern California law enforcement and law enforcement in general? Tell me.
I've been away from it for 13 years now. That seems, it seems almost impossible. I retired in March of 2011, and it's been really hard for me, especially last couple of years, to even care about keeping my eye on it, because I know it's bad. Norris, who was a lieutenant on our department, is our sheriff up here in Kootenai County. And he came up, he left as a lieutenant down with LASD and came up here and ran for sheriff, and he is now our sheriff. And things went real well for him for a little while. He claims to be a constitutional sheriff, and a lot of people like that up here because they like their guns and they like their rights, and they do not like BLM and they do not like Antifa. And he came across as a pretty strong guy to begin with, and they want him out of there now. I feel bad for the guy because one of the things that's happening is he's losing deputies right and left. Why? Because they're working them on overtime until they're ready to die. So they're going over to Spokane PD and all, bottom line is, you know what I think about it? I think it's turned into a shit job. And I feel really, really bad because in our day, I wouldn't have wanted to do anything else. I can't think of anything else other than a professional athlete or some bullshit like that. Look at all the girls you get, but other than something really ridiculous like that, there was nothing on the face of the earth I wanted to do more than be an LA County deputy sheriff. And I am sad about the whole thing.
Think about this. You're not in tune with what's going on down here, but
no.
They're forcing triple doubles. Guys are coming in, double, single off, double, single off, double. And in the meantime, you're getting, you're being called a piece of shit by members of the public. You have no support from your alleged leadership. They're dropping like flies. They're leaving the sheriff's department too, and they're going to other outside agencies where at least somebody gives a shit about them. Yeah. They can't hire people. You think about the mismanagement. They've got, I think, a fleet of 82 buses for court. And last time I was told, I think they have 12 working. They can't even get people to court on time. And what's that going to do? That's going to piss off every judge in LA County.
Yep.
And, it's just complete chaos. And Knucklehead Smith doesn't know how to operate a jail, how to open facilities, how to make the area safe for their people. And, this thing about, excuse me, I don't want to back 36 because there'll be too many people in jail. Well, nobody's making them commit the fucking crime. If they're going to commit felonies, knowing they're felonies, and they're going to end up in jail, you find a place to throw them. I mean, we've closed down a couple of jails. In my opinion, you've got a whole bunch of women in CRDF, which was meant as a medium men's facility anyway. Put the chicks somewhere else. I'd rather release a bunch of them because they're treated like third-rate citizens in a lot of their neighborhoods, and they're drug-addled and undereducated and beat up by the man and all that kind of crap. Put them somewhere like at South facility or even North and fill that frickin' man jail with men. It's just, it boggles my mind that they can't figure this shit out. But I believe that they don't want to figure it out. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. I think this, politically correct, turn into one thing, and now it's woke, and the bad guys are now the good guys, the victims of society, and the cops are now the bad guys because we're trying to put bad guys in jail or whatever. But we've got a turned around backward system right now, and I wouldn't survive in it. I really wouldn't. I don't think I would put up with it, period.
Dave, I disagree with you on the medical costs in Wayside. You transfer those fucking lazy ass medical people up there and you have them work there. You don't have to bring every chick with a headache down to the LA area. You make those medical people go work up there in the same shithole that everybody else is at. This reasoning that, I can't make the nurse work up there. Fucking fire them. When they sign up, they sign the same agreement we do. Okay, whatever.
Muffin Muncher is already on the fritz. Maybe I don't understand the term Muffin Muncher anymore because maybe it doesn't mean what I thought it meant, or I don't know.
Well,
Okay.
I don't think it's something at McDonald's, to be honest with you, but I know that they've talked about it before, and it's like they're kowtowing to the medical services people. The cost of the they don't have it. Well,
Wait.
yeah. Well, you know what, Dave? If they would go down there and the sheriff would throw his rancheros up on the table and kick and scream, the money would come out. But he's not going to do that because he honestly believes that the board is over him. He believes he's subordinate to the board of supervisors. And I remember one of the things Sherman Block said one time when Gloria Molina said, "Sheriff, you're being insubordinate." And he said, "I can't be insubordinate because I'm not subordinate to you." And he was absolutely right, and it's absolutely right now. And if they don't get that, if the sheriff needs to shut down a station to save money, and it happens to be in District 1, 3, 4, that's the way it goes. Hey, you know what? We're shutting down East LA station now until I get the money to put the buses up and running. But the problem that they've got going on now is that I remember them. Yeah, well, that's not the appropriate term there, Dave, but thanks anyway.
I got to tell you, Axel, sometimes there's stuff that goes that people say, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's a sheriff's thing. I don't get it. I'll put it up on screen, and when you guys don't understand it, then I don't feel so bad. But
yeah.
Right? Hey, put Sonia's up there because Sonia is absolutely 100% right. I love Sonia because she's smart, she's thoughtful, and she's insightful. And
come on, Bornsky, and you told me she was pretty too. Okay,
she's
all right.
beautiful. She's a beautiful girl.
Don't try to weasel your way through this.
My wife's listening to this show, so just shut your mouth and muncher.
Axel, I got to tell you, you know what? Even though we're on the internets and we're on the YouTube, when Sonia's going to be here, Mike puts on cologne. So I'm just saying.
I thought so.
And I wear pants. So, but you know what? She's right because they were talking about. I think they really do need to find a replacement for CJ. But you don't just let 6,000 jackasses run out because you got to tear it down. I think that that must be Grant Johnson. I think. Hey, Grant. They need to redistribute the money. If you remember, they were going to build a treatment center across the street from Twin Towers, and they canceled that because that was one of the things that Alex. I think Alex shot himself in the foot on that one. Hi, Alex. But they had the money set aside for that, and we're talking billion. And what happened to that money? Did they start giving it away to illegal aliens so they can take a sauna somewhere and use their free their credit cards and stuff? But it needs someone who can think outside the box, someone who can make a decision, someone who will stand up to the board and say, we need a new jail. And you know what? That's not just the problem. Here's the solution. We'll close down part of CJ at first, tear it down. They can break apart. They were built at different times, and build a new facility right next to where the old one is. Tear out that parking lot, get rid of probation out of there, build a nice new facility that'll hold a bunch of jackasses. And then once that's up and running, tear down the other side. Somebody over there has to have a frickin' brain to figure out what to do with these bodies. To use the excuse that, we can't do Prop 36 because, people are going to break the law and they're going to come to jail and we're going to have to house them. Well, no shit. East facility, I think, is tanked. I've been in there a few times. East facility, they need to knock down East facility, frankly. But that's a perfect place to put another brand new NCCF. But there's no forward thinkers there. There are people that are there to protect their jobs and the jobs of their buddies. They're trying to see how far they can promote. And you rat bastards know exactly who you are. There are not a lot of people out there. Axel, when you and I were there, we thought about what was best for the department, what was best for the deputies, and what would be best for the people of LA County. That's all. Strike 1, 2, and 3 with this new breed of people. Oh, I'm a lieutenant, but I want to be a freaking assistant sheriff in next month. So whose leg do I got to hump and whose butt do I got to sniff to get that done? And there are people that are letting them hump, and there are people that are letting them sniff, and they're moving up the chain. Am I still on?
You're still on.
You are still on.
I thought the FCC came in and shut me down, but
no, man. These are the best nights because when Mike is on fire, he says the F word at least 3 times, and then his face gets
well. And it's like I promised Sean that I would cut down on the potty mouth, and generally I do. But when I start talking about subjects about overworking deputies and treating them like shit, the funding issue, the bus issue, the Gascon issue, the Luna issue, the Newsom issue, all of those issues, they piss me the fuck off. And it can be what? It's a verb, it's a noun, it's an adjective. I mean, it's the perfect fucking word. So if I had a swear jar, we could probably go to Mazatlan right now. But I try to cut down on it. But sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you just have to let it all hang out.
It's okay.
You know what it adds up to with me, Mike? At 72, things start to get a little clearer. Whatever happened to just doing the right frickin' thing? How about, if you're paid what the Los Angeles County Sheriff is paid, why don't you have the balls to just do what's right? Do right by your people, do the best you can to fight for your department, to make sure that your department has what it needs to be effective. Just be a ballsy sheriff that does what's right. It ain't happening anymore. And it's all this cabal of a bunch of weasels that are looking for some kind of advantage somewhere.
I remember one time this wise old sage, Dennis Burns, talked to me one time. We were talking about this exact same thing. And he goes, you know what? I don't understand why people just can't do their stinking jobs. Yeah. And he's absolutely right. Just do your stinking job. But now, I mean, it's compounded by all this bullshit that's being flushed down the river of the sheriff's department. And the deputies are the ones that have to wade through it, and it's, man, I don't know. I consider myself someone who had that stick-to-itiveness. I would stick around to make sure I got the job done, no matter how tough it got. I don't know if I could do it today. I really don't. I mean, why not just you go to Santa Monica or go to Glendale PD or something? But the sheriff's department has been taking it in the huevos for a number of years now, and this guy that's at the top now, he should be a Helms Bakery man instead of being at the helm of a sheriff's department.
Yep.
Ken, you're pissing me off.
Well, I got another story that'll piss you off.
Go ahead.
So let's, Axel, I want to get your take on this.
Okay.
This is an interesting little.
We continue to follow developments regarding an LA City Council candidate in hot water after a recording captured her making a derogatory comment about the LAPD.
District 14 candidate Isabel Jurado made the comments last week during a meet and greet at Cal State LA.
NBC4's Conan Nolan following the backlash as well as her response. Conan.
That's right. This is District 14. It's downtown, Glassell Park, Boyle Heights, Highland Park. It's a marquee matchup between a political figure who's been in office at the city and the state level for quite some time and a newcomer who made some remarks she's having to explain.
My name is Isabel Jurado.
She has made incumbent Kevin De Leon secretly recorded comments an issue in the
Amazing.
Is that it, Ken?
Lost the sound. I can't hear you guys.
I'm here.
We need to
there we go.
The police. We need to fund the police.
to the part where
At
she says,
issue, a recorded conversation with students at Cal State LA, first reported by the West Side Current, where Gerardo responds to a question about the police budget. Comments that are now part of a new digital campaign by the LA Police Protective League.
Her plan for public safety starts with an F-bomb.
The police, that's how I see them.
This is a political.
Wow.
somebody asked her about what do you think about the police or blah, 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 and she says, what's that rap song, F the Police?
Yeah.
She's a city council candidate.
Yeah.
And she's an attorney. And these are progressive dirtbags that they're taking over the city council, to be quite honest with you.
Well, she's pandering to a certain part of society, and I don't know. I never thought I'd say vote for Robert De Leon, but I think I would now. But
you know what I think about that? I think you get exactly what you vote for. The people of Los Angeles have choices to make, and if they want to live in a city where fuck the police, and they want them driving around drinking coffee and doing nothing all day long so they don't put their hands on anybody or arrest anybody, then they're going to get exactly what they asked for. And we know exactly what that is. It's going to be a shithole. It's going to be crime city. And I can't even imagine why people vote that way, but Los Angeles has a bunch of them that do. And I'm afraid we have not seen the worst for Los Angeles yet.
Yeah.
That's what
I think, at least as far as the county is concerned, if we get rid of George Gascon, and if we get Prop 36 passed, those will be a couple of moves in the right direction. I think it'll show that the general voting public at large, I think they're sick of all this crap, feces in the street and being chased around, having your jewelry ripped off your hand in public and everything. And it's just the follow home robberies and all the bullshit that's going on. What was it? There was a gang of like young teenage kids on Schwinn Stingray bicycles, breaking into 7-Elevens and stripping the walls and everything. It's like, what the fuck's going on? But, yeah, Mom said, hey, go down and get me a case of beer. Okay, well, I'm not going to pay for it, but we're going to go get it.
How old were they?
They were like teenagers, 12 to 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, when I was that age, all I wanted was a surfboard. I listened to the Beach Boys and maybe sneak a beer now and then. I don't understand what these kids are all about nowadays. Fights on my little high school campus. You'd go out and get in a big old brawl with somebody and roll around in the dirt with them. And then when you were all done, you patted each other on the back. You went back to class. Nowadays they're killing each other. I don't know. I don't understand any of this. I especially don't understand the flash mob stuff where they get in contact with cell phones.
I understand it. I understand that they think they can get away with shit because it's a wild, wild west and they're going to get their piece of the pie. That's exactly what's going on. Absolutely zero respect for law enforcement, zero respect for justice and the law. It's like no respect for adults. Their parents are probably worthless pieces of shit if they're letting them act like that. They failed parenting 101. But and it's a bigger problem than us. I am going to say that I'm hopeful an intelligent, workable candidate comes forward to take on Luna, whether he's there or not. Whether he resigns or not, or falls out or whatever happens, I'd like to find somebody that we can all trust to do the job. And man, woman, I don't care, but somebody that's got the frustos, the guts to come forward and do the right thing. Bam!
Preach it, Mike.
Yeah.
And
now you're preaching.
Cometh in the morning. Bam!
Yeah. And you know what? So we can be unburdened by what has been.
I hope next Tuesday we're going to be unburdened by what has been the last 4 years. So I'm hoping.
Yeah. If no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I did listen to the 3-hour conversation that Trump had with Joe Rogan. Mm-hmm. And if people haven't taken the time to just listen to Trump and the common sense stuff that he says, I mean, get past the hyperbole and get past some of the crazy that he says. Look at what he's done and not what he says. People get all tied up with, he's a fascist, racist, blah, 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 right? Well, I understand that he was going to be a fascist, racist, blah, blah, blah last time he was in office, but he forgot, right? Because, I mean, the proof was in the pudding there. He got fucked with every day he was in office, and yet he still managed to pull the country up by its bootstraps just to have it torn right back down by Sleepy Joe. I mean,
Sleepy Joe.
I that poor guy. I mean, he just needs to go lay down at the beach somewhere and just pass out.
And the kids can stroke the hair on his legs.
Oh yeah. And what's that guy? Maybe we can pull Corn Pop out of an old folks home, and they can sit around and they can reminisce about how Joe was going to kick his ass with a chain. But
that's right.
That was 60 years ago, Joe. And what do you do?
Was a bad dude.
Bad. And who do you prop up to be the next presidential candidate? A person who didn't get 1% of a primary vote.
That's right.
When she ran, everybody's just like, get the knucklehead out of here. And now all of a sudden she's the best thing since sliced bread. And
was it even legal? Was the whole process whereby they made her their candidate? Was it even legal?
I'm assuming it's got to be constitutional. Otherwise, somebody would have screamed by now. But being constitutional, well, that's true. The Democrats aren't going to complain.
It's fine.
But they're probably sitting in the back room right now saying, "Fuck, we should have left Joe in, man." Joe.
Well, the funny thing about it, she was polling lower than Joe Biden as the vice president. She was in the 30s, like the mid 30s, and then July comes along. And she's like at 100. She's the best vice president ever. And I'm like, how did you do that? Magic. It's magic.
Yeah, just the same way that they made Trump a Nazi.
Did you see?
I guess they
yesterday.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that they had Hitler speaking too, didn't they? And they took a picture. Their BFFs and my God.
If you never believed in reincarnation, then you would have to deny that Donald Trump is literally Hitler because he came back to life, right?
So he's incarnated, right? Yeah. They're I mean, there are some low information voters out there, and that's what concerns me. The low information, just lazy voters who are just going to say,
lazy. And they're also, as far as I'm concerned, they're indoctrinated. Look at ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN. As far as I'm concerned, about half the stuff they say on their news programs, they're pulling out of their ass. I don't know where they get this kind of stuff, and people are listening to it, and they trust these people.
I don't know if I try not to watch MSNBC, but sometimes on YouTube, I'll pull up a clip or something. They'll just pop up. And after the debate with J.D. Vance and Tim Walz, MSNBC had the panelists, and about 3 of them said, Tim Walz wiped the floor with J.D. Vance. I'm like, did you watch the same debate that I did? What?
That guy is a lion's sack. I found out he wasn't the head football coach. He was like, defensive back coach or something, and he didn't really have a weapon of war in a war zone, and I doubt he even has a pair of nuts in the pockets there. But people go, oh well, you know what, better him than J.D. Vance, because J.D. Vance is probably a Nazi in waiting, right? He's going to want to be a Nazi, but man.
Or do you remember when they were trying to propagate the story about him having sex with his couch?
Well,
I guess the whole thing was he was sticking it down in between 2 cushions, and they were trying to spread this rumor around and get it started. And what talk about, why does this guy have to go out and say that's bullshit? If it was me, I wouldn't have even said anything about it. I'd say,
Well,
you do that.
Well, how good looking was the couch?
Well, if it came from Sears, I probably would do it. But
no.
No, don't go there.
Well, you can't come to our house because we got a Sears couch.
Yeah, because Axel would leave your house and you go, "Hey, Zippy, why are the cushions messed up?"
Yeah, well, because Axel's messed up. Hey, just so everybody knows, I got to throw this out. Axel's going to go to the roundup this next year in April.
Oh, yay! What's that?
I'm going. Dale's going, and Bob Rifkin, when he gets his ass out of the hospital, is going to go
out of the hospital.
And we're gonna raise some hell at the roundup. So,
yes,
everybody, either get your ticket now or run like hell.
Should we start getting raise bail money right now, or can we wait a little bit?
We're pretty quick about getting away. We don't get caught.
Well, in the old days when I was drinking. That was a possibility, but I'm sure we'll behave ourselves just fine.
No, we don't do any drinking anymore. There's no drinking. It's funny. I was telling my wife, Axel and Bob and Dale and I got together in Vegas, and back in the day we would go there and we'd be gambling, drinking, staying up all night, going to strip clubs, jumping off of buildings and stuff. What do we do this time? Went to see a magic show and we're in bed by 9.
It was embarrassing. It really was. It was embarrassing. I was going, man, this is what we've become.
It was pretty sad. Yeah.
And 9 was probably pushing it. Oh, I don't know.
Well, I'm talking about, in sleep at 9. Yeah. Probably hit the sack about 8:30, right? It got dark and cold. None of us could see at night anymore, so I thought, we better get back.
Yeah. And we were either running around doing something, or we were watching Fox News, or we were sleeping. I mean, that's about it.
Or eating, right?
Yeah, or eating.
Yeah.
We did do it.
That was a big part of the program. Okay, Ken, what do you got?
I got one last story I want to ask Axel about. I don't know if you guys heard about this situation out in Fresno. So what happened was this police sergeant from Fresno, he's sitting in his car doing some kind of report. Some guy comes up and starts shooting in his car. So the sergeant gets shot in his legs. The guy takes off. The sergeant says, screw that. He goes in pursuit after being shot in the legs, both legs. And then he's broadcasting the pursuit. So officer needs help, call comes out. The responding units come and they sent the guy to hell. And the guy dies. Sergeant goes to the hospital. He's recovering. But what a badass police officer.
Oh, man. You know what? That is a real sergeant right there. That's an example for the troops right there, making us proud. Hey, I'll tell you what, Fresno is not a town for pussies.
It can be a tough town.
That is a tough town, and those cops do a lot of hard work out there. So I'm proud of the guy. That is so cool.
You think about it too. It says a 49-second gun battle ensued, and they're doing that based on a computer returns, right? Can you imagine being in a shootout for almost a minute? Yeah. Holy cannoli, man! Yeah, no, Fresno is tough town. It's not a place where you just go to be gay. Oh, I don't mean that.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, you don't go there to be a lazy wimp. Great story.
Yeah, I went to management school, and there was a couple of new lieutenants for Fresno PD there, and they had some war stories, man. They were tough guys. I admired them. I thought, wow, Fresno, all right. Sounds like they got a good police department, and they do.
I think their chief had to step down because he was boinking some other officer's wife or something. But Fresno is a good agency. I think it's a great part of the state and great police.
Yes.
Well, that's a photo of the chief of police. She's the acting chief of police, and she looks like you wouldn't want to mess with her either. So
exactly,
no.
She means business. That's just pretty badass. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done, but I think I hopefully would have done the same thing where you get shot and you say, you know what, screw you. I'm going to go in pursuit.
Yep.
But
yeah, you're exactly right. And, you have to have that attitude. They talk about that. I remember in the academy where, a deputy gets shot in the hand and he dies, and some crook, you blow his head half off his shoulders and he's still running down the street shooting at you.
Yep.
It's all in a mental attitude. You have to have the attitude that not today, Satan, you're not going to do it today. And that's
talk about tough. I got one quick little war story. I was still on training. I was with Goldfarb. We're rolling down Central Avenue, down, I can't remember, probably 92 Street. Where was that? That liquor store down there off of
92 in Alabama.
It was over.
Red.
Yeah, over on Central. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
we look
Red's
over
liquor,
there. Yeah. We look over in the parking lot, and there's a guy laying in the parking lot. We've got a drunk over there. So we didn't have anything else to do. So we pull in there, and I jump out of the radio car. He's on my side of the car down on the ground. I looked over there, and his guts were out on the ground beside him, his intestines and stuff. And he obviously we figured, well, 927D. So, but we rolled paramedics. We got a hold of LAPD. They rolled out. We took off at that point. I swear to God, 3 weeks later, the guy was sitting there drinking a short dog right beside the liquor store. I could not believe it. How did they save this guy? They had to be pulling garbage and rocks and dirt and stuff. And how did they do that? Those are tough guys.
That's it's either Thunderbird or Colt 45, that it's like formaldehyde. So, he was they just pick the guts up, flop them back in and sew it up.
Yeah. I don't know how they did it, but and 3 weeks is the turnaround, and he's back drinking short dogs again. I was unbelievable.
And you know what? That was 50 years ago, and he's probably still sitting there right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
boy.
Yeah.
Well, the Dodgers got their clocks cleaned. I'm sure you see that. It's top of the ninth, 2 out, Dodgers 4, Yankees 11. It sounded to me from the get-go they didn't really want to end it in 4. They wanted to give them, because everybody's mad. Oh, don't end it in 4, end it in 5. So I don't want to see it come back to LA because all of a sudden it's, 3 games at 2. But, let them have this one win and then kick their bananas tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them have it.
Yeah. Hey, I see you got a thing up here that says so many fast ghetto law enforcement agencies in Central and Northern California now. East Palo Alto PD is one of the baddest and fastest. Yeah. My brother-in-law, who is now deceased, was working with the sheriff's department in that area. What would that be? I can't remember exactly what county that is, but Palo Alto. What did you say?
I'm trying to think of the sheriff's department. Oh gosh, there's so many up there.
What county?
Yeah. He talked about that. He said, "Man, the murder rate and the stuff going on in Palo Alto, Watts doesn't have anything on them." So
Santa Clara County.
Oh, yeah. Santa Clara.
Yeah. I don't think it was Santa Clara County that he worked for, but they had a little strip of Palo Alto, and that was where all their deputies went because they were needed. Palo Alto is.
Oh, Grant says San Mateo County. Does that sound right?
That sounds right. San Mateo County. He worked with San Mateo County Sheriff, retired as a sergeant.
Wally McCurry.
R.I.P. Good man.
Go.
Okay.
And that is the grit that's missing in today's generation.
Yeah, but the grit's been knocked out of them by all this crap that's going on.
Yeah.
You can be gritty all day long, but the system's against you.
I can't help but believe they're I think in most of our agencies they're still trying to hire good people.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there are some politically correct things that they need to pay attention to, and they got to keep the numbers right, so to speak. But I think the majority of them want to do the job. I think where we've fallen down really badly is in our leaders. They're a bunch of punks that they got their minds on something else other than just doing the right thing and doing the damn job. And why that is, I don't know. I don't know.
Generational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like New York took it.
Yep.
Yeah, just one.
Oh my God. New York Dodgers 4, New York 11. Holy smokes. They must have been hammering out there.
Yeah, well, there was a grand slam in the fourth, I think, that put it away right there. Now they're just showing off, but tomorrow they're going to get their butt spanked.
Yeah.
True dat.
Hey,
Well,
Rifkin, I know you're watching or listening right now. Get better, dude. We're tired of seeing you laid up.
Yep.
We got shit to do.
I told him we need to get him out of that hospital and get him back in shape because we got some adventures to go on still.
Yeah.
So he better get his rear end out of there.
And GJ, don't hold your breath. All right.
Send him a text in the morning just because.
Right. Hey, what's going on?
What's happening? Well, I think that's good for the evening. We went over 7 minutes because of the lost time. No, we didn't go over 7. We had a good show and we went a long time, and I hope everybody enjoyed this.
Yeah. Hey, Axel, when he says it's over, don't hang up. Just stay there.
Just stay in studio.
We talk shit afterwards.
we talk about stuff. So
stuff. Top secret stuff.
Top secret stuff.
Okay.
So thanks a lot, guys. We'll be back next week.
Next week, huh?